welcome back to Twin Stick Garage, where we're going to continue working away on this 79 Kenworth W900A. We're going to try and make it look like the one used in the Smokey and the Bandit film. And right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this thing, the bodywork finished, and then we're going to try and lay down some etching primer, and then probably another coat of high build to cover up all the scratches that I didn't properly sand out. And who knows, maybe eventually we'll even get some proper paint on there. So one thing that I've been working on since the last episode is building kind of my homemade paint booth. So obviously, if you've been following the channel, you know that this shop is actually 40 feet deep by 60 wide. But I didn't want to, when I started spraying, I didn't want to have overspray go onto my other trucks. So I set up this kind of homemade paint booth deal. I basically just put eyelets screwed into the roof studs or the roof rafters, and then I just hung these tarps. So one this way and then the other one that way. So that's, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. Hopefully this works and tries to keep the dust out of the rest of the shop as I continue to sand on the truck. And then again, when I start to paint, that the overspray doesn't waft over that way. And one of the other things that I've come up with to try and keep the overspray drift is I picked up these drum fans from my favorite hardware store, Princess Auto. And so what I'm thinking is we'll set these up, and when I go to paint, I can set the door down on it, and it'll get a positive pressure and push out all the paint fumes. So with that, I'm doing my best to try and get ready for paint. So like I always say, less talk, more work. So if you're curious about my tube heater melting the tarp, I actually looked it up, and where is it here? 150,000. I need 58 inches from the front of the tube to anything flammable. And I actually just got 58 inches. That's why I made that choice to make the bend there and cut over. So hopefully it keeps my tarp intact while still giving us some heat. Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to open up these drum fans, and see how they work. Now, what I might need to do is maybe move them over to one side and then have plywood blocking the other side. But let's just plug these in and see how they work. Okay. Huh. Reminds me of Tango and Cash. I think that's gonna work. Not too bad at all. Oh yeah, we just went up a notch. So as soon as I put the sheet of plywood there, you can just feel the positive pressure and actually suck the tarp forward. And when I stand in the opening here, you can feel a breeze. So what I did was I opened the man door over by the Duke to allow air in to flow around, kind of come through here and then blow out. But I think this is gonna work absolutely awesome for painting. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together.
There ain't no need to tarry. Let's start out tonight. We'll have fun, oh boy, and we'll do it right. Bring along your Cadillac, be
my... Okay, so I've just been working away trying to clean up these huck bolt heads, and probably the best setup that I've been able to find is this roll-lock disc that I highlighted in a previous episode. I got these off Amazon. They're just little rubber fingers that actually clean the paint up quite nice off these huck bolt heads, or these huck rivets. And then the other tool that I'm trying out is this Milwaukee Fuel right angle die grinder. And I actually got to thank my dad for this. He picked it up for my birthday, and what a treat this is. Again, Milwaukee's not a sponsor. I wish they were, but they make awesome tools. So the nice thing about this thing is you can control the speed, which I guess you could do on an air die grinder as well with a regulator. But I like that. And then the additional benefit is it's light, it's easy to get it around in all these tight spots, and you don't have to deal with the hose, and you don't have to listen to the air compressor hammering away. So it's the nicest setup I've found so far. So these roll-lock discs I just got off Amazon, and again, they come in different grits. And I'm actually wearing this one out. I think I only got one more, so I've got to order probably a few more to finish this truck up. But it's a quick, efficient way to actually get at these huck bolt heads without actually sanding them flat or sanding them smooth, so you retain that kind of original round profile, but still get the paint off of there. So yeah, we'll just keep grinding away here, get all these huck bolt heads and all the other stuff that needs sanding down, because I really want to get this truck into primer and move forward to the next stage. I've been playing with this bodywork for far too long.
If you've got the money, honey, I've got time. Every spot in town, and we'll go to the park where it's dark and we won't fool around. But if you run short of money, then I'll run short of time. And if you got no more money, honey, I've no more time. If you got the money, honey, I've got time. And we'll go honky-tonkin' and we'll have a time. We'll have more fun, baby, all the way down the line. If you got the money, honey, I've got time.
So here's another little gimmick I picked up on Amazon. It's a little sanding block that again goes in a die grinder, and it's got a Velcro deal on it, and you just pick out your grit. And I'll try something like that. And I think this will work good because it's got a nice foam backing to try and get in there. So I cleaned up the rock chips as best I could. And now we'll give this a try. Oh, that's slick. Nice. I like that a lot. Well, this side I thought too bad. The other side was worse, but what I'm doing now is I'm trying to grind out all those star cracks in the fiberglass. And there's some in there. There's some along the back here. So what I find best to grind those out is just a flapper wheel on an angle grinder. It works really quick to cut it all down to the lower layer of fiberglass, and then I build it back up with resin. And you can hear my fans going, so what I'm doing now is I'm testing out the airflow, so as I grind, it's going to blow all this fiberglass dust outside. Yeah, I think that's got the worst of them. Okay, now mix up a batch of resin. Oh, look at that. Dust myself off and it all walks out to the fan. So this system's working. Right on. Oh, I missed a few. You can see them there. See, this little hairline cracks from just years of being in the sun. So I'll grind those out a little more. Okay. So this is pretty strong smelling stuff, so I'm going to leave the fans going to get us some ventilation. But this is essentially just the resin you use when you want to do a fiberglass repair. That's probably more than I needed, but that's okay. You don't need to measure. If you don't have enough, it just takes a little longer to harden, and if you have too much, it'll just harden quicker. Okay. So we'll just paint this in here. Actually, what I might do is just pour it on and then just spread it in. Yeah, that's the ticket. There. Fills it back up, fills it all in, and then hardens up quite nice. And hopefully keeps us from having the cracks come through after I paint. Okay. And it's nice because it's kind of self-leveling. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Almost. Okay, now we'll zip over to the other side and do that one. There, something like that should do nicely. And then I put a little more Bondo in the low spots. So again, we'll let this whole mess harden up. And then we can hit it again and try and get a little bit closer to throwing down some primer. But yeah, my hat's off to the folks that work in the auto body industry. That is a ton of work to get a truck sanded down and ready for paint. So you folks deserve your cold ones at the end of the day, that's for sure. So for all the viewers that say, man, I miss watching them work outside. Well, here you go. I figured it's a nice sunny day, and why not grind out this visor outside so we don't add any more dust inside the shop than we need to. That way it'll all blow away. But this visor is not in good shape. Incredible amount of cracking, and it even goes around the front edge there. So we'll do what we can. I don't know if you can see it in the sunlight, but I figure we'll do what we can to grind this out, and we'll do the same kind of epoxy resin and hopefully build it back up. But if it doesn't turn out, I guess worst case I'll start looking for a decent visor, but probably it's going to be quite difficult though, given the vintage of these trucks, to find one that isn't sun cracked. But we'll grind it out and see how it turns out. There was a time I drank my can. Well, that's interesting. This isn't made out of fiberglass, it's a plastic visor, because I was wondering why it was not flaring into dust. It was just making it a sticky mess. So I don't know if this is going to work, but what we'll do is, I guess I'll continue on this path because I don't really have another solution. I'll continue to just grind down. I can't really find bottom on these either. I don't know if they're cracked all the way through. Is this plastic? Oh, it's fiberglass. Must be some kind of plastic fiberglass resin deal. Because that definitely looks like fiberglass strands to me. Huh, maybe they put a plastic coating on it. Well, either way, I'll continue to grind this down and then we'll throw resin on top and hopefully these cracks don't come back after I paint it.
Yeah, drown out all these heartaches on me night and day. When the thought of you came passing through, I'd have one more. But now the whiskey ain't working anymore. I need one good honky-tonk angel to turn my life around. Yeah, that's a reason enough for me to lay this old bottle down.
Is it the right way? Nope. But it's my way, and we're gonna try it. So my logic is that this epoxy resin will go down into the crack and hopefully hold it together and keep it from walking out after it's been painted. So we'll let this harden, and then we should be able to sand it all down smooth. Again, it's nice because it's self-leveling. I think it'll help. It couldn't hurt. What a lovely day to be working outside. All right. Something like that looks pretty good. Yeah, that actually turned out quite nice now that it's hardened up. It's smooth, and what I'm thinking is hopefully that resin actually holds together those cracks so they don't come through, as I mentioned, when I go to paint it. Now I missed a couple little tiny spots there, but nothing a little body putty or body glaze can't fill in. So we'll sand this down and see if we can get it ready for primer. All right, coming along. A little batch of glaze here. We'll see if we can't fill in the low spots. And then we can let that harden and go on to something else. Like I always say, make use of the minutes inside the minutes. I only get one Saturday a week to work on these things, so I gotta try and be as efficient, as productive as possible. Oh, that's looking nice. That's looking nice. I probably should have gloves on. That's okay. Little body putty never hurt anybody. And as always, I'm sure the people that do this for a living are going, no, 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 that's not how you do that. This thing's so oddly shaped, I can't actually clamp it down because it's raised up. So if I try and put any pressure to get it clamped to the workbench here, or my scaffold, I'm worried I'm going to crack it. So that's why I'm just kind of manhandling it around. I mean, idiot. I don't have the vocabulary. Man, I like having a TV in here. Put on my favorite movies while I'm working. That's kind of fun. And that's why you don't want to mix up too much, too big of a batch, because even in the few minutes it took me to do that half, it's already starting to harden. So make another batch and do the same thing to the other side and then let it harden up. So while that's hardening, I figured what I might do is try and cover up the remaining walls, because obviously when I start painting in here, despite the fact I'll have the drum fans pulling air, I think when I'm spraying, especially the roof caps and stuff, there's going to be some drift, and it's just going to stick and color my white walls in whatever color I'm painting the truck. So in order to combat that, I figured instead of hanging tarps, because tarps are more expensive and they're heavier and you don't necessarily need that because you've already got the wall there, I went to Home Depot and I was looking at Tyvek. Now this stuff is the material they use on the outside of buildings before they put the siding on. And the reason I bought it was two reasons. One is it's very light, so it shouldn't take too much. So I'm just gonna put the roll down there and we'll pull it up like wallpaper, and then I'll cut it off, and then I'm just gonna zip tie it to the top conduit there. I think it should take the load because it's not very heavy. And the second reason I bought it is because it's cheap. So I think it's gonna work quite well, so let's give it a go. That worked quite well. There. Not bad. Okay, do that 2 or 3 more times and should be just about done. Turned out nice. Now what I'll probably do is, so I can still have access through the man door there, is I'll just roll that up and tape it up for now until we go to paint. And now for the front, what I'm thinking is I'll probably leave it for now, but I'll have probably 3 more panels of Tyvek, and I'll hang it from that conduit and drape it down. And that way when the door is open just enough for the drum fans, it'll just kind of push against it, but then it'll create a block so we don't have potentially the overspray go out and then get sucked back in over the door. So that's why we'll drape it over that, but we won't do it until we're actually ready to paint. But yeah, that Tyvek's gonna work quite well. All right, so like I sometimes say, my ambition far exceeds my skills. And in this case, thinking I could actually get a homemade paint booth built and the truck completely prepped and ready for primer in a single episode was probably a bit of an overreach. So I'm gonna sand this down, I'm gonna finish up the visor, and then I'm probably gonna wrap it up there. Stay tuned next week. What I'll probably do is we'll wet down the floor. Well, we'll finish sanding, we'll sand it down to 320, and then we'll prep everything. I'll paper the windows and plastic the tanks and the wheels and the frame. And with any luck, by the end of the next episode, we'll have it in gray primer. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And like I always say, don't ever forget, if you got it, trucker brought it. Click the Twin Stick Garage logo to subscribe. And be sure to comment down below. I encourage you to share any thoughts, feedback, suggestions, stories, or even just a simple hello. I read and appreciate every one. And if you really want to help out the channel, head over to my Patreon, a subscription-based service that you can sign up and see videos before they're released on YouTube. I'm also going to be posting some content that you can't see anywhere else, so go check it out.